Hello student, welcome once again to my YouTube chemistry channel, Amazing Chemistry Classes. I am Dr. Rohit Chakravarti, an educator, senior research scientist by profession. Welcome you. So this is the third video of surface chemistry. Till now we have discussed about mycelium formation. In the beginning we have discussed about various topics of surface chemistry. So let's start with this video. Now in this video first we are going to start with the mechanism of mycelium formation. So let me read out what is written over here. So let us take the example of a soap solution. Soap is a sodium or potassium salt of higher fatty acids and may be represented as RCO negative Na positive. हम लोग सभी जानते हैं that soap को हम लोग generally जो define करते हैं that is as a sodium salt of ओलिक एसिड, स्टीयरिक एसिड, सोडियम सॉल्ट ऑफ हायर फैटी एसिड्स. ओके, सेम ही लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे सोडियम स्टीरेट which is a major component of many soap bars. So when dissolved in water, it dissociates into RCO negative and Na positive. So the RCO negative, however, consists of two parts: a long chain hydrocarbon, it is called a non-polar tail, which is hydrophobic, water repelling, and the polar group CO negative, called polar ionic head, which is hydrophilic. So I have shown through this pictorial presentation short ionic part Na positive and soap molecule that is long hydrocarbon chain. तो लॉन्ग हाइड्रोकार्बन चेन बेसिकली ये ऑयल्स और स्टेन्स के अंदर डिजॉल्व हो जाता है एंड अल्टीमेटली which helps to remove the stains. Here you can see this is a wonderful presentation, also a picture through which you guys can understand there is a mycelium lyophilic end and the lyophobic end of a soap. So the RCO negative ions are therefore present on the surface with their CO negative group in water, and the hydrocarbon chain are staying away from it and remain at the surface. Alright, so but at the critical mycelium concentration, that is CMC, the anions are pulled into the bulk of the solution and aggregate to form a spherical shape with the hydrocarbon chain pointing towards the center of the sphere, with CO negative part remaining outside on the surface of the sphere. An aggregate thus formed is known as ionic mycelium. Okay, so this is the definition of ionic mycelium, and these mycelium may contain as many as 100 such ions. The temperature at which mycelium are formed is termed as Kraft temperature. So this would be the definition for your Kraft temperature. Similarly, in case of detergent, as I told you that soaps are the sodium salt of stearic acid, or we can say it is the sodium salt of higher fatty acid. Similarly, if we discuss about the detergents, so what are detergents? In case of detergent, example sodium lauryl sulfate, and the formula is CH3CH2 whole 11 SO4 negative Na positive. All right, so here it is the sulfate SO4, sodium salt of sulfuric acid, sulfate. The polar group is SO4 negative, that is a polar part, along with the long hydrocarbon chain. Hence the mechanism of the mycelium formation here also same as that of the soap. Here guys, you can see this is the stearate ion at the top and the water molecule, and this is the ionic mycelium CO negative part. So the arrangement of stearate ion on the surface of the water at low concentration of soap, and the arrangement of stearate ion inside the bulk of water at the critical mycelium concentration of a soap. Basically, as I told you in my previous videos also, that you guys have to learn in surface chemistry. There are not major concepts which I can explain you in a better way. So surface chemistry is all about your learning. It's a theory subject where you have to learn a lot to complete this chapter. Now, talking about cleansing action of a soap, it has been mentioned earlier that mycelium consists of a hydrophobic, like a central core hydrocarbon chain. The cleansing action of a soap is due to the fact that the soap molecules form a mycelium around the oil droplet in such a way that the hydrophobic part of the stearate ions is in the oil droplet and the hydrophilic part projects out of the grease droplet like a bristles. So basically, as I told you, that the hydrophobic part, it goes into the stain, that is your oil part, because it is soluble in the oils, and the water soluble, that is hydrophilic part, remains in the water. Since the polar groups can interact with the water, the oil droplet surrounded by the stearate ion is now pulled in the water and removed from the dirty surface. Thus soap help in the emulsification and washing away of oils and fats, because once mycelium form, it comes into the water, which is a water soluble, so it gets removed, the stains gets removed, because there is a formation of there will be a emulsification and wash away of oils and fat. The negatively charged sheath around the globules prevent them from coming together and forming a aggregate. So here you guys, you can see there grease on the surface, soap or detergent dissolves in the water, surfactant ions orientate themselves in grease and water. Okay, so then what happened, there is a agitation between begins to separate grease from the surface. As you guys can see, there is a stain, and these are the surfactant which gets accumulated over the stain. Then what happened, the process starts for the formation of mycelium, and then there is a aggregate formation which are actually which make the stain get solubilized into water, and finally there is a complete cleaning. So this is the whole process, how it happens, the cleaning process through soap. Now talking about the preparation of colloids, again very important part of this surface chemistry, that is the preparation of the colloids. Okay, what is the chemical method? The colloid dispersion can be prepared by chemical reactions leading to the formation of molecules by double decomposition, oxidation, reduction of hydrolysis. These molecules then aggregate, leading to the formation of salts. So as you can see, arsenic oxide reacts with H2S, and there will be a double decomposition. It results in the formation of arsenic sulfide, Sol plus water. Similarly, sulfur dioxide reacts with H2S gas, and oxidation will happen, results in the formation and reduction at 3S Sol plus water. Similarly, gold chloride, it reacts with formaldehyde and water, results in the formation of salt of gold. And finally, ferric chloride reacts with water and results in the formation of ferric hydroxide, that is a salt, plus HCl as a byproduct. In case of AuCl3, formic acid would be the byproduct and HCl. Now talking about Bredig arc method, here you guys, you can see there are two electrolytes, positive and negative, that is cathode and anode, and there is a dispersion medium, and it is kept in the ice bath. Okay, the process involves the dispersion as well as condensation. So the colloidal salts of metals such as gold, silver, platinum can be prepared by this method. In this method, electric arc is struck between the electrodes of the metal immersed in the dispersion medium. The intense heat produced vaporizes the metal, which then condenses to form the particle of colloidal size. What is peptidization? Let me tell you the definition. What is peptidization? Peptidization may be defined as the process of converting a precipitate into colloidal sol by shaking it with dispersion medium in the presence of small amount of electrolyte. So basically it is a process through which what happens, there will be there is a transformation, or we can say there is a converting a precipitate into colloidal sol. So in this, what we have to do, we have to shake it actually with the dispersion medium in the presence of a small amount of electrolyte. So what is the importance? What is the important part over here, that there will be a shaking in the dispersion medium, and the presence of electrolyte is very important. The electrolyte used for this purpose is called peptidizing agent. So peptidizing agent, the electrolyte part plays a crucial role, which is known as peptidizing agent. This method is applied generally to convert a freshly prepared precipitate into colloidal sol. So in this, what is important to remember, that the freshly prepared precipitate will get converted into colloidal sol. During peptidization, the precipitate absorbs one of the common ions of the electrolyte on its surface. This causes the development of positive or negative charge on the precipitate, which ultimately break into smaller particles of the size. Now here you guys, you can see fresh iron hydroxide. It reacts with ferric chloride, results in the formation of colloidal particles of FeOH whole thrice. So this is known as, this is a pictorial representation of peptidization. So where ferric hydroxide precipitate absorbs the ferric ion from the FeCl3, which is known as peptidizing agent, and the surface of the precipitate acquires the positive charge. Alright, you guys can see by this picture, and charge which repel with each other, breaking the precipitate into small fragments falling into colloidal range. Now the process for the purification of colloidal solution. So the colloidal solution, when prepared, generally contain excessive amount of electrolyte and some other soluble impurities, while the presence of traces of electrolyte is essential for the stability of colloidal solution. Large quantities get coagulated. It is why it happened, because the given charge get neutralized by the opposite charges. सो बच्चों बेसिकली इसमें मैं आप लोगों को थ्योरी ही पार्ट पढ़ा रहा हूँ, इसमें ज़्यादा कुछ समझाने का नहीं है। एंड द पॉइंट इज दैट formation of myceles or action of cleaning by soap and detergent. So what you guys have to do, you have to just go through all my slides and this video and then go through your NCERT and you guys need to understand why how it happens. इसमें कुछ ऐसा रॉकेट साइंस जैसा कुछ भी नहीं है, जस्ट आप लोगों को पढ़ना है। 2 बार आप लोग पढ़ेंगे तो इजीली आपको समझ में आ जाएगा और इसमें कुछ ज़्यादा समझाने का होता नहीं है, थ्योरी पार्ट है जैसा कि मैं आपको पहले भी बोल चुका हूँ। सो जस्ट आप लोग एक बार रीडिंग कीजिए अच्छे से। इन केस आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, यू गाइस कैन कमेंट ऑन इट सो दैट आई कैन मेक अ one more video. All right, so let me read out this also. While the presence of traces of electrolyte is essential for the stability of the colloidal solution, larger quantities coagulate it, so it is therefore necessary to reduce the concentration of the soluble impurities to a requisite minimum. The process used for reducing the amount of impurities to a requisite minimum is known as purification of colloidal solution. Now what is dialysis? Again very important part. What happened in dialysis, how it happens, here you can see in a picture there is a crystalloid and there is a dialysis membrane and water solution from inlet and outlet. So how it happens, let me read out the entire phenomena. It is a process of removing a dissolved substance from a colloid solution by means of a diffusion through a suitable membrane. Since particles or ions are smaller molecules in a true solution can pass through an animal or bladder, that is a parchment membrane. So here you guys you can see there is a solution over there in the membrane and outside there is a water. So there is a difference in the concentration. So what happened, cellophane sheet but not the colloidal particle. The membrane can be used for the dialysis. The apparatus used for this purpose is known as dialyzer. So this membrane is known as dialyzer membrane and inside this there is a solution, concentrated solution. A bag of suitable membrane containing the colloidal solution which contains the colloidal solution is suspended in a vessel through which fresh water is continuously flowing out. So out of this colloidal solution the fresh water comes out from this membrane. The molecules and ion diffuses through this membrane. And what is electrodialysis? As you understand there will be a anode and cathode inside this aqueous solution and there is a dialyzing membranes. You guys can understand this is the diagram. So here the salt particles you guys can see and crystalloids. So ordinarily the process of dialysis is quite slow, okay, because when it happens on its own it will take prolonged time. So what happened, to make it more faster we apply a cathode and anode. So there will be a charge, as you guys can see on anode there will be a positive charge and cathode there will be negative charge. So what happened, it can be made faster by applying an electrical field if the dissolved substance in the impure colloidal solution is only on the electrolyte. The process is then named as electrodialysis. The colloidal solution is placed in a bag of a suitable membrane. Same thing again, in it there will be a dialysis membrane, the parchment membrane or bag we can say it. If suitable membrane with pure water is taken in the outside, the ions present in the colloidal solution migrate out to the oppositely charged electrode. Okay, we always know that ions get attracted towards the oppositely charged electrodes. Now talking about ultrafiltration, it is the process of separating the colloidal particles from the solvent and the soluble solutes present in the colloidal solution by specially prepared filters which are permeable to all the substances except the colloidal particles. So next point is colloidal particles can pass through the ordinary filter paper because the pores are too large. However, the pores of a filter paper can be reduced in size by impregnating with colloidal solution to stop the flow of colloidal particles. The usual colloidant is a 4% solution of a nitrocellulose in a mixture of alcohol and ether. So basically what happen in ultrafiltration, there will be a paper and there is a very fine pore size. So it's a slow process through which colloidal particle can pass through, and what I have written over here that usually the colloidant is a 4% solution of a nitrocellulose and it is a mixture of alcohol and ether. So the ultrafiltration paper may be prepared by soaking the filter paper in a colloidant solution, hardening by formaldehyde. So what happens when there is absorption of formaldehyde solution in the colloidant paper, the pore size get reduced, and thus by using ultrafilter paper the colloidal particles are separated from rest of the materials. Alright, and this process is very slow. To speed up the process, pressure or suction is applied. What happened, because automatically the pore size are very small, and the colloidal particles moves through it on its own, it will take time. So to speed up the process, either we apply the pressure or we can do it through the vacuum. The colloidal particles left on the ultrafilter paper and then stirred with fresh dispersion medium to get a pure colloidal solution. Here you guys, you can see there is an ultrafilter, the electrolytes come out of it. What happened, there will be application of a gas pressure from the top side. So what happened, the process get enhanced in terms of rate. So ordinary filter paper has a large pore size, not useful. So what happened, ordinary filter paper impregnated with colloidal and has a small pore size, separate colloidal particles. Now in this we talk about the properties of the colloidal solution. I think this much I have given you lot of topics, so I believe rest of the topic I will cover up in the next video. So thank you so much bacho. In case if you have some doubt in the topics which I have uploaded in this video, do let me know so that I will come back with a new video. So thank you so much. Do like, share and subscribe my channel.